Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India voting in the 6th and the penultimate phase of the general elections 2024. Polling begins in 58 parliamentary seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks exclusively to DD News. Discussion on a range of issues including opposition attacks, his development philosophy and the ongoing elections. Watch the interview on DD India at 10 AM IST. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaks to Israeli Minister Gantz after ICJ ruling, reiterates stand on major Rafah operation. US announces $275 million aid package for Ukraine to help it repel Russia's assault near Kharkiv. Let's get to the latest on the world's largest election in India. Polling has begun for the 6th phase of India's parliamentary elections for 58 parliamentary seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. Voting is taking place in all the 10 lower house seats in northern Indian state of Haryana, all the 7 seats of National Capital Territory of Delhi, 8 seats each in eastern states of Bihar and West Bengal, 14 in Uttar Pradesh, 4 in Jharkhand, 6 in Odisha, and 1 parliamentary constituency in Jammu and Kashmir. Polling for 42 assembly constituencies of the Odisha State Legislative Assembly is also to take place simultaneously today. Among some prominent candidates in this phase are senior BJP leaders Dharmendra Pradhan, Maneka Gandhi, Manohar Lal Khattar, Sambit Patra, Bansuri Swaraj and Manoj Tiwari, and Congress leaders Deependra Singh Hooda, Kumari Selja, Raj Babbar and Kanhaiya Kumar, as well as Samajwadi Party leader Dharmendra Yadav and PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti. Polling began at 7 AM and will conclude at 6 PM local time. The last and the 7th phase of polling will be held on 1st of June. And counting of votes will be conducted on 4th of June. To get more updates, we're joined in by DD India correspondents on the ground. Akshay Dongre joins us from Delhi. Vishal Barrister joins us from West Bengal. Akshay, to you first. Good morning, both of you, for joining us on DD India Live. Akshay, let us get more from you as to how do we expect the day to progress. The national capital of Delhi, with its 7 seats, goes to polls today. Let us get a sense of how do we expect the day to be. And also, very quickly, for the benefit of our viewers, help us understand the political contest and the political landscape in the national capital.
Well, Preeti, a very good morning to you as well. Right now we are at the Lodhi estate where the election commissioner is going to cast his vote. Mr. Sodhi will be coming here to cast his ballot among the 3 election commissioners. So he will be here in some time and exercising his franchisee at the polling booth that is allotted to him. You can see already there are some strict security arrangements that have been made by the Delhi police. In fact, other officials are also here early in the morning with you can see all sort of arrangements to woo the voters, in fact to promote a higher voter turnout in the National Capital Territory, including the selfie booths that have been set up. As you can see on your screen, other messages that have been put up all across Delhi to ensure that voters get inspired by these messages to come out in huge numbers and cast their ballot. Now, to understand the political landscape, Preeti, we have to understand that this time the elections are quite different from how they took place in 2019 as far as National Capital Territory of Delhi is concerned, because the earlier time around in 2019 there were three key contestants, three key players as far as Delhi is concerned. That were the Aam Aadmi Party that also rules the Legislative Assembly, the Bharatiya Janata Party that in fact had swept the 2014 elections as well, winning all the 7 out of 7 seats. And then there was the Congress Party, the former ruler of Delhi when it comes to the Legislative Assembly, along with formation of government that took place in 2009 at the central level too. So all these three were heavyweights in the politics of Delhi. But this time around, what we are seeing is a bipolar contest between the BJP and the AAP Congress combined, where the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress Party have come to a seat-sharing formula to ensure that the 2019 verdict doesn't get repeated here in New Delhi, where again the Bharatiya Janata Party has swept all 7 out of 7 constituencies of Delhi. So amid the bid to in fact join forces, in fact, we have to understand that something quite opposite has also taken place as far as the party cadre and workers are concerned. Now, the party workers who have spent years and decades while working for the political parties, both the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress Party, were not expecting this kind of alliance between these two parties, because both of them are hopeful of winning certain seats in Delhi. Both of them were hopeful actually to reap some benefits of anti-incumbency that is usually expected by the opposition parties. However, the alliance that was formed by the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party has clearly upset many of the leaders from both the sides. Because these two political parties have been at the loggerheads, be it Punjab, where the Aam Aadmi Party removed Congress from the government, or be it Delhi, where it was the Aam Aadmi Party that removed Congress from Legislative Assembly and not the Bharatiya Janata Party. So a lot of workers were miffed as well. In fact, there were certain resignations in the Congress Party, including the president of the Congress Party here in Delhi. So all that took place. BJP is trying to reap some benefits out of this discontent among the cadre and the party voters too. So that remains to be seen that how it is going to play out. But right now, all the efforts by the election commission is to ensure that more and more people come out to cast their ballot, given the fact that right now Delhi is in fact going through a severe heat wave,
yes,
with temperature soaring to 46-47 degrees Celsius as well in certain parts. So that will be quite interesting to see that how many people will turn up in this scorching heat to exercise their right, which is in fact the biggest worry for the election commissioner right now.
All right, Akshay, I'll take that forward to our correspondent Vishal Baristo, who is joining us from Midnapur in West Bengal. Vishal, good morning. It is too early to talk about the voter turnout and you know the how has polling picked up. But then let us get more from you as to what are you picking up from the ground. How do we expect the day to be? And also, when we talk of these 8 seats going to polls today, then the minority vote plays a very crucial point, a very crucial factor in this phase. Let us get more from you about the political landscape.
Well, a very good morning to you, Preeti. Let me tell you that right now I'm here in Midnapur. Midnapur was the epicenter of Bengal's freedom movement against the Britishers. So the feeling of nationalism is there very high, especially in the seat of Midnapur. 8 seats are going for polls, and more than 1,45,34,000 plus people are going to decide the candidates from these 8 seats. I would ask my cameraman to first show you. This is a pink booth. It is manned by women and it has been decorated very beautifully. So I would ask Piyush to first show you what kind of arrangements have been made. Remember, this is a very hot and humid state, and that is why all facilities have been put in place, all arrangements have been put in place. You can see the balloons pink and white. It's been decorated very beautifully. The wheelchairs are there, the water campers are there. So all arrangements by the election commission. And I would also like to ask Piyush to show you, because we are not allowed inside there. The rules are very strict here in Bengal. You can see people lining up, all the ladies there lining outside the booth waiting for their opportunity. And the voting has started at 7 a.m. So it's been a very positive opening as far as Midnapur is concerned. And here people have come out, they have come out with their elders, with their younger ones and with their siblings to cast their vote. But Bengal has always been in the news for all the wrong reasons because of the poll violence all the time when elections are there. And this time the police commissioner of Kolkata has clamped section 144 in Kolkata, that is beginning from 28th May for 60 days. And this is quite a shocker for most of the people, because while the elections are on and you are clamping section 144, BJP is opposing that. But the police says that it is all because the step has been taken as a preventive measure. So polling has started here, and we would be telling you more about the place as and when the people come out and show their ink on the index finger. So let me tell you that so far it has been good, peaceful here in Midnapur. 8 seats along with Jhargram, which is also a scheduled tribe reserve seat, are going for the polls. Jhargram is adjacent to Midnapur. Both Midnapur and Jhargram, they were won by the BJP last time, and BJP has changed candidates on both seats. From Midnapur, it has fielded Agnimitra Paul, and from Jhargram, Dr. Pranat Tudu is there for the BJP.
All right, Vishal, if I want to ask you to explain the key contests in this phase, and how is this phase marked different from the previous phases that were held in the eastern state. The BJP has replaced its incumbent MP, and also more or less it's a four-cornered contest, but the main battle will be between BJP and TMC. How do you read the political battle in the state?
Well, Preeti, when Bengal is talked about, it is a triangular contest between TMC, BJP and the INDIA alliance. But let me tell you that I've been traveling in West Bengal for some time, and I've only seen the main contest between the BJP and the ruling Trinamool Congress. So the tempers were very high when the campaign was there. BJP has had a very electrifying campaign as far as 6 rounds of voting is concerned, and TMC trying very hard to compete. But as far as the campaigning is concerned, the India bloc is nowhere near the competition between the TMC and BJP as far as campaigning is concerned. And we are expecting that this time also the 6th phase would increase the voter turnout, because remember in the 5th phase Bengal did very well, scoring 73 plus as far as the voting percentage was concerned in comparison to other states where the voting percentage was not that high. So we are expecting the poll percentage to increase in Bengal in the 6th phase as well. And remember, the 7th phase would decide the winner in West Bengal.
All right, Akshay, I'll bring you in here. When we talk of elections, then generally development and general progress is high on the minds of the voters. But Delhi, being the pulse of the political setup of the country, how do you gauge the political, the sentiment of the voters? What are their expectations? Because Lok Sabha elections are different from the state assembly elections. So let us get more from you. You must have interacted with the voters there. What is it that, that will prompt them to vote today?
Well, absolutely right, Preeti. In fact, we have to understand that while it doesn't appear so, Delhi is quite well versed with the politics of the political parties, be it at the national level or at the local levels as well. Now, you have rightly mentioned that the national issues are different from the state issues, and in fact this is a union territory. It is heavily influenced by whatever happens in the country, affects Delhi as well. So we have to understand that this being the power seat of India, the battle for Delhi has become a prestige battle for the political parties, all the political parties that are in the poll fray. So we must understand that Delhi has been a unique example of how people vote on vote issue-based politics. For example, when we look at the legislative assembly elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party has not been able to form government for the past 3 decades. And in fact, when you look at the political parties that have been ruling, have been AM IST Party for the past 10 years or so, and before that it was the Congress Party that has been ruling Delhi under Sheila Dikshit's chief ministership, which was uprooted by none other than AM IST Party that they are in alliance with right now. So the Bharatiya Janata Party, while has not been able to set a strong foothold in the state politics, the politics of the union territory, it has been sweeping all the 7 out of 7 seats when it comes to the national elections, both in 2009, both in 2014 and 2019 elections. So that monumental shift among the mindset of voters and among the choice of voters as far as the leaders are concerned is clearly issue based. So when it comes to the legislative assembly elections, the local issues, the issues of Delhi, they take center stage. But when it comes to the national elections, usually what we have seen is that national issues, including national security, including the economy of the country, including other issues as well, they take precedence above above the local issues. So that is why we see a paradigm shift among the voting style of the voters as well.
All right, Akshay. We'll gauge more about the voter sentiment and voter turnout through the day. Thank you so much as of now, Akshay and Vishal, for joining us and updating us with those details. All right, let's continue with the poll updates. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged all those who are voting in the 6th phase of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections to vote in large numbers. Taking to social media platform X, Prime Minister said, and I quote, "Every vote counts, make yours count too. Democracy thrives when its people are engaged and active in the electoral process. I especially urge the women voters and youth voters to vote in large numbers." India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave an exclusive interview to DD News. Prime Minister spoke on a range of issues, including opposition attacks, his development philosophy and the ongoing elections. To watch the whole conversation with Prime Minister Modi, stay tuned with DD India for the telecast at 10 AM IST. You're watching DD India Live. Up next, we're heading for a short break. But after the break, Africa's largest lake, Lake Victoria, witnesses rising water levels. Stay with us as we analyze the repercussions of this. G7 finance ministers heading into day 2 of talks in northern Italy. Barcelona have sacked manager Xavier Hernandez.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Let's get to international updates now. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected South Africa's genocide claims at the International Court of Justice as false and outrageous. On Friday, judges at the top United Nations Court ordered Israel to halt its operation in Rafah and withdraw from the enclave, but its war cabinet minister says not until all the hostages are released. DD India's Jody Jacobs has more on this.
There have been varying reactions from around the world following the ICJ's ruling on Friday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claims his country's campaign in Rafah has not and will not lead to the destruction of the Palestinian civilian population, with Benny Gantz, Israel's war cabinet minister, stating that they are committed to continue fighting to return the hostages and promise the security of their citizens, quote, wherever and whenever necessary, including in Rafah. However, the court in its ruling stated that the provisional measures ordered in March did not fully address the situation in Gaza and conditions had been met for a new emergency order by the court. Hamas has welcomed this court order. It has now called on the UN Security Council to immediately implement what it could terms practical measures to compel Israel to implement the decision. Speaking here at the United Nations headquarters on Friday, Palestine's permanent representative Riyad Mansour said Israel has to abide by the decisions and the demands of the court. The ICJ, other than ordering Israel to stop its military operations in Rafah, has also ordered it to open the Rafah crossing between Egypt and Gaza to let aid in. It's also ruled that Israel must provide access for investigators and report back on its progress within 1 month. Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Jordan have all welcomed the court's decision. South Africa, which brought the case against Israel, said it must adhere to the ruling and its obligations under the Genocide Convention. And while ICJ orders are in fact legally binding, the court has no police to enforce them. Jody Jacobs in New York reporting for DD India.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken reiterated Washington's position on a major Rafah operation when he spoke with Israeli Minister Benny Gantz on Friday. The State Department, in a statement, said that Blinken also discussed the importance of Israel and Egypt concluding talks to reopen Rafah as soon as possible. The United States on Friday announced a fresh tranche of military aid for Ukraine, including ammunition, missiles, mines and artillery rounds as Russia presses its assault on the Kharkiv region. A fresh aid package of $275 million announced by the U.S. in an effort to help Ukraine. Last month, U.S. lawmakers passed a long-delayed $61 billion military aid deal for Kyiv after months of squabbling in Congress as Ukrainian forces suffered setbacks on the battlefield due to ammunition and funding shortages. Since then, President Joe Biden has ordered 5 tranches of military aid to be sent to Ukraine. The United Nations Security Council on Friday called on all countries to respect and protect aid workers and UN personnel. The UNSC adopted a Swiss-drafted resolution with 14 votes in favor, while Russia abstained. It strongly condemned all violence against them and the unlawful denial of humanitarian access. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Friday that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had no legitimacy following the expiry of his 5-year term, and this would raise a legal obstacle if Russia and Ukraine were to hold peace talks. At a televised press conference during a visit to Belarus, Putin said Zelensky's status was problematic. With Ukraine under martial law in the 3rd year of Russia-Ukraine conflict, Zelensky has not faced elections despite the expiry of his 5-year term this week. Putin is ready to halt the war in Ukraine with a negotiated ceasefire that recognizes the current battlefield lines, but is ready to fight on if Kyiv and the West do not respond. G7 finance ministers are heading into day 2 of talks in northern Italy, hoping to make progress towards a deal on using frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine. They are also set to discuss a potential global tax on billionaires on the second and final day of the meeting, although there are divisions between G7 members over the proposal. Gilles Gibson has been following the talks from Rome.
By the end of this second and final day of talks in northern Italy, we don't expect there to be a fully fleshed out agreement when it comes to how to leverage $300 billion of frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine. The German finance minister, Christian Lindner, going into day 1 of the talks, saying that there were many legal and technical issues that still need to be resolved, and a US official saying that they hope to see some progress on establishing principles, effectively a structure, but not actually progress on the fine details of all of this. Just to give you some background, what we've seen over the last few months or so is this debate with the US and Canada on the one side, who started off insisting that these frozen Russian assets should simply be seized and handed over to the Ukrainians, and then on the other side, mostly the Europeans, who have been very concerned about setting a dangerous legal precedent by confiscating the assets of a sovereign state. The middle ground that they appear to be moving towards is the issuing of a loan. The number that's been talked about by the US, at least, is that it could be up to $50 billion. That loan secured against the profits of those frozen Russian assets. And then we could see a final decision actually made when G7 leaders come to southern Italy for their summit in the middle of June. Meanwhile, going into this summit, we saw the US government announcing that their new higher tariffs on Chinese goods would kick in on the 1st of August. Those tariffs targeting everything from electric vehicles to batteries that go into EVs, as well as medical devices. Now, we don't expect the Europeans or the other members of the G7 to follow suit with tariffs of their own, but we could see in the final statement at the end of the day some tough language about the impact of Chinese imports on these G7 economies. Just finally, there is also this proposal on the table from France and Brazil as part of the wider G20 grouping about potentially bringing in some sort of a global tax on billionaires. Now, we understand that behind the scenes the US do not support this yet, that they have issues with some details in the proposal, and we also understand that there are other members around the table who are saying that a previous deal around establishing a threshold for multinational companies has still not been implemented, so they want to stick to agreeing that before another global tax is put forward in terms of this G7 grouping. Giles Gibson in Rome, reporting for DD India.
In Uganda, water levels in Africa's largest lake, Victoria, are rising fast. The government warns in some areas the lake has breached its banks and flooded settlements near the shoreline. The current situation is attributed to climate change. A quick look at sports now. Barcelona have sacked manager Xavier Hernandez, with former Bayern Munich boss Hansi Flick set to replace him. Xavier will take charge of Barcelona for the final time on Sunday when they host Sevilla in their last La Liga match of the season. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.